Beginning, the Bride of Peace. The galaxy had been burning for nearly 3 centuries. The stars of the Vorin cluster, once bright with trade and civilization, were now scarred and dimmed by endless wars between humans and the Terran Empire, a race of towering, bioluminescent beings whose crystalline cities floated above molten worlds. No one remembered how it began, only that revenge fueled revenge until peace seemed impossible. But when the Titoanan's empress, Elira Viventar, inherited the throne after her mother's death in battle, she did the unthinkable. She called for peace. And the humans, weary and wounded, finally agreed. The terms were shocking, however. To seal the treaty, a union would be formed not between generals, nor politicians, but between the empress herself and a human representative. The galaxy gasped. The chosen human was Commander Elias Kor, a soldier born from the ashes of Earth's last war, a man known more for strategy than politics. He was loyal, calm, and unyielding, a perfect symbol of humanity's honor. He never wanted fame. And certainly not a royal marriage. But when the call came from the Terran Council, Elias said only 4 words. If it ends war, yes. So it was arranged. A wedding between species, an event so vast it was broadcast to every colony, every world. The ceremony would be held on Toanan Prime, beneath the twin suns that bled crimson light across the Empire's crystal towers. Middle, the union of fire and light. When Elias first saw Elira, he thought she was carved from light itself. Her skin shimmered faintly, like pearl and starlight woven together, and her eyes held galaxies, literally. Her people evolved with luminous organelles in their irises, each reflecting constellations they'd once ruled. She stood before him in ceremonial armor, not a gown. To her, this was not romance, it was duty. And to him, it was no different. Their vows were ancient Toanan oaths translated into human tongues, words of unity, strength, and eternal vigilance. When their palms met, 1,000 energy conduits flared to life. The ritual joined not only their hands, but their biosignatures. For the first time in recorded history, a Toanan and a human shared life energy. That night, beneath the floating gardens of Jaruel Palace, the universe felt still. But peace, Elias soon learned, was fragile. The Toanan nobles despised him. To them, he was a primitive mammal unfit to touch their queen, let alone share her essence. The human colonies, too, called him a traitor marrying the enemy. Elias endured it quietly. He had faced worse in trenches. Yet Elira confused him. She was regal and cold, bound by the weight of her empire. But sometimes, he caught glimpses of something else, a loneliness even a crown couldn't hide. One evening, she found him alone in the starlit observatory. "You do not speak much," she said, her voice like wind through glass. "I speak when it matters," Elias replied. "And does this peace matter to you, human?" He turned to her. "More than my comfort. More than what they think of me." Her eyes softened, a flicker of warmth breaking through the Empress's mask. "You are strange among your kind. And you," Elias said with a faint smile, "are far kinder than you pretend to be." For a moment, silence, then a sound like laughter escaped her lips, soft and startled, as if she hadn't heard it in years. From that night, something began to change. Elira invited him to walk the upper gardens, where bioluminescent vines spiraled through the air like drifting ribbons. She taught him the history of the Toanan stars, their fall from glory, their belief that beauty must be earned through endurance. He listened. And in turn, she listened when he spoke of Earth, the blue oceans, the warmth of sunlight on bare skin, the sound of rain. The more they spoke, the less they seemed alien to each other. Conflict, shadows beneath peace. Months passed. The treaty held, but not without blood. Sabotage erupted in the colonies. Human extremists called the Union a mockery. Toanen radicals whispered that Elira was tainted by human weakness. One night, an explosion tore through the outer domes of the palace. Elias woke to chaos, alarms blaring, guards shouting. Without hesitation, he ran to the Empress's chamber. Elira was alive, but shaken. The air shimmered with smoke and shattered glass. Her wings, those translucent, light-woven appendages unique to her lineage, were scorched. Elias shielded her as debris fell. "Stay behind me. You'll die, human. Then I'll die doing something that matters." He drew his sidearm, scanning the corridor. Through the smoke emerged the attackers, Toanen insurgents cloaked in violet armor. They weren't there to kill her. They wanted to take her, to undo the marriage and restore their pure bloodline. Elias fired, ducked, and dragged Elira behind a crystalline pillar. Energy blasts scorched the marble beside them. She touched his arm. "You fight for me, even when my people would not. Because peace dies if you do," he said, voice steady. When the last insurgent fell, he turned to her, his arm bleeding, uniform torn. Elira looked at him for a long time, then did something no Toanen empress had ever done to a human. She pressed her forehead to his, a gesture of reverence among her kind. "Elias Kor," she whispered, "my life is bound to yours now, not by treaty, but by truth." From that moment, love was no longer forbidden. Middle to climax, the heart of two worlds. Rumors spread across the galaxy. They said the Empress had fallen for her human consort. That she spent hours beside him in the library domes, learning his language, touching his scarred hands as if tracing the map of another world. When they stood together on the balcony of Jaruel Palace, even the stars seemed to burn brighter. Yet beyond the palace walls, hate festered. An extremist Toanen faction, the Shardborn, plotted to destroy the treaty once and for all. Their leader, High Warlord Karesh, had once served under Elira's mother. He believed no peace could exist with humans, only conquest. The Shardborn infiltrated Toanen Prime's capital, hiding a weapon deep beneath the city, a pulse bomb capable of fracturing the planet's crust. When word reached the Empress, she faced an impossible choice: flee and preserve herself, or stay and stop them. Elias didn't let her choose. "I'll go," he said. She shook her head. "If you die, they'll call it proof that our union was a mistake. Then we both go." The tunnels beneath Toanen Prime glowed with molten light. The air shimmered with radiation. Together, they descended into the labyrinth where Karesh waited. When they found him, he sneered. "You would sacrifice your bloodline for a human?" Elira's voice was calm, regal. "I would sacrifice everything for peace." Karesh struck first. Energy blades clashed, plasma bolts burned through the dark. Elias fought beside her, their movements a perfect rhythm, steel and light intertwined. But Karesh was powerful. His final strike knocked Elira to the ground. Elias stepped forward, weapon raised, fury in his eyes. "You're wrong," he said. "She's not weak. She's hope." He fired. The blast struck the bomb's core. The explosion should have consumed them both, but Elira's wings flared, forming a shield of pure energy. The light engulfed everything, ending the dawn of unity. When Elias awoke, he was in the palace infirmary. His body burned with pain, but he was alive. At his side sat Elira, her wings dimmed but intact. She smiled faintly. "The bomb is gone," she said. "Karesh is gone. And so is the hate he carried."